The news came on a Tuesday. Eleanor stood at the creek, scrubbing shirts against a flat stone. Mid-December, the water ran black with cold, and her knuckles had split open an hour ago. She didn't notice anymore. The blood washed away pink and thin, like watered-down wine. Her daughter, Lily, 6 years old and thin as a fence rail, stood nearby, trying to help. Eleanor sent her toward the patch of weak sun on the bank. "Go sit, sweetheart. Warm yourself." The girl didn't argue. She never argued. That was the worst part. When they got back to the house, the old woman was waiting. Martha, Eleanor's mother-in-law. She stood on the porch with 2 men from the village, the elders, the ones who decided things. No one had gone to the creek to fetch them. No one ever went to fetch Eleanor. "Took you long enough," Martha said. She tossed a cloth bundle onto the dirt. 2 dresses, both threadbare. "The soldier came. Your husband's dead." She said it the way she'd say the well had gone dry. No feeling, just fact. Eleanor didn't cry. She'd stopped crying years ago. "Can I take Lily?" she asked. Martha laughed. "The hunter's paying for you, not the brat. But we'll see. Maybe he'll want her too. If not, there's always the traitor." Lily moved closer to her mother. She didn't cry either. That was the worst part of all. They walked her to the hunter's cabin at dusk. The old woman and the 2 elders flanked her like guards. Lily held her mother's hand so hard her knuckles went white. The cabin sat at the edge of the woods, smoke curling from the chimney. A man sat on the stoop, sharpening a knife. His name was Daniel. He was a large man, thick through the shoulders, with a scar that ran from his left temple to the right corner of his jaw. His left leg was bad, an old break that had healed wrong. He dragged it when he walked. The village said he'd killed his first wife. The village said he'd once beaten a wolf to death with his bare hands. The village said a lot of things. Martha stepped forward. "Here she is. 20 silver, like we agreed. But the girl comes too. That's another 10. Daniel looked at Eleanor, then at Lily, then back at Martha. "20 was the deal," he said. His voice was low, flat, not cruel, exactly, just tired. "Then you don't get the girl," Martha said. "She goes to the traitor. 10 silver at least." Daniel stood up. He moved slowly. The leg made him careful, but he was tall, taller than any man in the village. He went inside, came back with a small leather pouch, and tossed it to Martha. 30. "She stays." Martha caught the pouch, weighed it in her hand, and smiled. Eleanor dropped to her knees in the dirt. She pulled Lily down beside her. "Please," she said. "She eats almost nothing. She works. She won't be trouble." Daniel looked at the girl. Lily looked back. Her eyes were too old for her face. Then Lily said, "Father." The word hung in the cold air. Daniel blinked. Martha kicked Lily in the back, hard enough to make the girl sprawl forward. "You little bitch," Martha said. "Your father's not even cold." She kicked again. Lily didn't cry. She just curled up and waited for it to stop, the way she'd learned to do. "Enough." Daniel's voice cut through the yard like the knife he'd been sharpening. He stepped between Martha and the girl. "You have your silver. Go." The cabin was small. 3 rooms, a main space with a hearth, a bedroom on one side, and an empty room on the other. No lock on the door. No lock on anything. Eleanor stood in the middle of the main room. Holding Lily's hand, waiting for instructions that didn't come. Daniel had gone back to his stool on the stoop. He was sharpening a different knife now. "What do we do?" Eleanor whispered. She wasn't talking to Lily. After a long moment, she took the girl into the empty room. There was no bed, just dirt floor and bare walls. She found a pile of old straw in the corner and spread it out. "Stay here tonight," she said. "Keep quiet. No matter what you hear." Lily nodded. She'd heard things before. Her real father, Thomas, had been loud when he drank, which was most nights. "Mom," Lily said, "why did father make you marry this man?" Eleanor didn't answer, but they both knew. Thomas had been dead 3 years, not 3 days. The soldier's news was a lie, or maybe not a lie, but a convenience. Thomas had wanted her sold. Before he left, Dee, wanted the silver, and Dee wanted her gone somewhere. She wouldn't survive. The hunter's cabin was supposed to be her grave. The door banged open. Daniel stood there, holding a lantern. He looked at the straw, then at Eleanor, then at Lily. Not here, he said. He picked Lily up. She flinched, expecting a blow, and carried her into the empty room on the other side. There was a new bed there now, rough-built, but solid. Thick blankets, 2 sets of winter clothes, old but clean. This is yours, he said. He set her down and walked out. A moment later, they heard his door close. Then nothing but the crackle of the fire. Lily touched the blanket. It was warm. Mom, she whispered. It's soft. Eleanor sat on the edge of the bed and put her face in her hands. The first week was strange. Daniel didn't speak much. He left food on the table, bread, salt pork, a pot of beans, and ate separately. Standing by the window, he watched them eat. When Lily finished fast, he nodded. When she slowed down, he frowned. Eat, he said. She ate. He went into the woods before dawn and came back at dusk, with rabbits, squirrels, once a small deer. He skinned them in the yard and hung the meat in the smokehouse. He didn't ask Eleanor to help. He didn't ask her for anything. On the 4th night, Lily woke up with a cramp in her stomach. She'd eaten too much, more than her body knew how to handle. She doubled over, gasping, and Daniel appeared in the doorway before Eleanor could even stand. He wrapped the girl in a blanket and carried her through the snow to the village doctor's house, kicked the door open. The doctor's wife complained about the hour until Daniel looked at her. Then she went back to bed, overfed, the doctor said.
She ate too much. This girl was hungry for too long. Her stomach forgot how to handle food.
He gave her something bitter to drink. She threw up on his floor.
She will be fine. Give her small amounts these next few days.
Daniel carried her home. On the walk, he said.
You never eaten meat before?
Lily shook her head against his chest.
Hardly ever.
He was quiet for a long time. Then, you will now. She wasn't sure she'd heard him right. The wind was loud, and her ears were ringing, but when they got home, he put her in the warm bed and covered her to the chin. Sleep, he said. He left for the deep woods on a Tuesday, said he'd found bear tracks. Big one. He'd be gone 4 or 5 days. Eleanor made him bread with lard and a little honey. The first time she used honey for something that wasn't medicine. She also made him thick socks and a wool cap. He looked at them for a long time before putting them in his pack. Buy anything you need, he said. There's coin in the jar. Then he limped into the trees and disappeared. 5 days passed, then 6. On the 7th, it started to snow. Eleanor stood at the window for an hour, then put on her coat.
Stay here. There's food. Don't open the door for anyone.
I'm coming with you.
No.
I'm going.
It was the same face that had stared at Martha's boot without crying. The same face that had called a stranger, father, to save them both. Get your coat, Eleanor said. They took the trail into the woods, Eleanor carrying a kitchen knife, Lily carrying a smaller blade she'd hidden in her dress. The snow came faster. The light died early. They walked for an hour, maybe 2, calling his name. Then they heard footsteps. He came out of the trees, dragging a bear.